There are two ways to transcend. You can step right out of the storm, or you can walk into it and still become peace. And if you have ever wondered why phrases like let go and love harder both feel true, then this is why. I want to take you on a journey into something that isn't a debate. It's not a hierarchy and most definitely not a religious argument, but instead a living transmission of consciousness. Because when I talk about Buddha consciousness and Christ consciousness, I'm not talking about one being better than the other. I'm speaking about two incredibly sacred frequencies of transcendence, two axes of the same mandala, perhaps. One is the frequency of awareness without entanglement, and the other is the frequency of love within entanglement. And depending on what it is that you're moving through right now, one will feel like the medicine that you most need right now. Or if you're ready, you'll learn how to dance them both into one, to bring them into wholeness. Because the truth is, you don't just want peace when life is easy. You want peace when life is loud. You don't just want love when you're being loved. You want to remain in that bubble of love even when you're being tested. So we can all see and feel it right now. The world is moving fast. There is chaos. People are overwhelmed. People are overexposed and emotionally saturated. Nervous systems are stretched. Hearts are guarded. Minds are noisy. And in times like this, we often swing to extremes. Some people try to transcend the times by becoming detached, by shutting down, by ignoring things. Others try by becoming endlessly forgiving, endlessly serving, endlessly open, even when it costs them their boundaries and their own self-respect. But the thing is, neither extreme is where you need to be. The truth is integration is important. To integrate, sacred mastery is important right now. So I'm going to share these two frequencies for you in a way that will anchor them in so they become lived, embodied wisdom, not just beautiful words. I want you to have this wisdom awaken within you. So I want you to imagine a mandala as a sacred map of wholeness. Buddha consciousness and Christ consciousness sit on different axes, not above and below, just different directions. Buddha consciousness is the path of emptiness, not emptiness as in nothing matters, but emptiness as in freedom from grasping. The Buddha teaches that the mind is about awaking from the illusion, to see the attachments that bind you, to loosen your grip, to stop clinging to the story that keeps you in a state of suffering. Christ consciousness is the path of fullness, not fullness as in, the burden is yours to carry. Fullness as in love should remain present at all times. Jesus teaches the heart to stay open inside the human experience, to love without becoming naive, to forgive without approving harm, to serve without losing self. So one says step out of the world and the other says step deeper into it without losing yourself though. One dissolves the self, one transforms the self into a vessel for the whole. And the reason both are true is because transcendence requires freedom and love. Buddha consciousness is what happens when you stop being hypnotized by the storm. It is the frequency of witnessing it. It sees life as is without grasping, without attaching to it, without clinging to it, without clinging to the belief that it has to be a certain way. And this is why the Buddha taught that desire or attachment is the root of all suffering. Not because wanting beautiful things is an issue, but the desire as in gripping to the outcome, gripping to the identity, gripping to the need to control everything, gripping to the idea that I will only be okay when. Because the mind loves conditions like I'll relax when the problem is solved. I'll be happy when they change. I'll feel safe when I know what's coming. I'll finally feel worthy when I'm chosen. But Buddha consciousness steps in and says, look, the grip is the suffering. What it is that you're hanging on to is the suffering. The grip is what's creating the tension. The grip is what is creating the fear. The grip creates a life of waiting, and the medicine is release. Buddha sits still and watches as the storm passes, not because he doesn't care, but because he understands something that most people forget. You are not the weather. You are everything. You are the sky. Thoughts come and go. Emotions, they rise and they fall. Experiences, they change for us all. But awareness remains. And when you become the awareness, you stop drowning in the waves. Instead, you start riding them. This is the great teaching of the mind. So much of your suffering is not in the event that happened. It's in your attachment to the stories. It's your attachment to what the event means for you. Because nothing has any meaning except the meaning that you give it. So if you give pain the meaning of I'm unworthy, you're going to suffer twice. If you give betrayal the meaning of now I can't trust anyone, you build a prison. If you give disappointment the meaning that I'm always the one that loses, then you're creating a prophecy for yourself. Buddha consciousness says, look at the illusion, release the meaning, return to presence. This is emptiness, not cold emptiness, but liberating emptiness. And then we have Christ consciousness. And this is where the heart becomes the altar. Christ consciousness doesn't ask you to step away from the world. It asks you to step deeper into the world and to hold your frequency no matter what. It is love with spine. It is compassion with truth. It is forgiveness that refuses to carry poison. Jesus didn't teach avoidance. He walked into his humanity. He walked into suffering. He walked into betrayal, and he chose love anyway, not because betrayal is acceptable, but because hatred is poison. It is a chain. It is the chain. And this is why one of the most powerful sentences ever spoken is, forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do. This isn't weakness. It's spiritual authority. It's the recognition that unconscious acts unconsciously. Hurt people. Wounded people wound people. All those stories, that people who are disconnected from love often can't love cleanly. And Christ consciousness says, I will not become you. I will not mirror your darkness. I will not let your consciousness define my heart. Because you know what? Even here in this situation, I choose love. I choose truth. Even here, I will remain open without abandoning myself, because Christ consciousness is not just go off and be a doormat. It's absolutely not saying accept mistreatment. It's not asking you to overgive and call it holiness, thinking that martyring yourself is a good thing. Christ consciousness is the ability to remain love while holding boundaries, to forgive without returning the harm, to bless without staying bound. And that is fullness. Fullness of heart, fullness of spirit, fullness of presence. So here's let's call it a bridge that I want you to install in your mind and in your heart. Buddha consciousness and Christ consciousness are not opposites. They are complementary roads to union. Buddha dissolves the false self, the one built from attachment, fear, identity, and illusion. Christ transforms the self into a vessel, into a channel for love. One path says release the freaking story. The other says redeem the story through love. One path says step out of the storm, and the other says walk into the storm and be the peace in the storm. And both of them lead to sacred union. Both lead to God. Both lead to the remembering of what it is that you truly are. So the question becomes, What is your soul asking of you right now? Do you need the medicine of release, or do you need the medicine of love? And are you ready to become someone who can hold both? So my wish for you is that you stop clinging to what broke you. May you stop carrying people in your nervous system who have no right to live there. May you stop confusing resentment with strength. May you stop confusing attachment with love. May you become so awake that illusion cannot hypnotize you any longer. And may you be so open that pain cannot harden you. May you be the one who can step out of the freaking storm when you must. And when life calls you in, may you be the one that walks in as peace and light itself. Because that is the union, that is the mastery that we're here to live. That is your awakening. So be the witness, be the love, and choose to be the peace.